Welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today is October the 1st, and I wanted to share this quarter four warning and also talk about the blessing that is coming through this crypto cycle. Now, first, before I get into this, I'm not a financial advisor. If you guys like these videos that I make, the support links are down below in the description and also the comment section. So finally, we are out of September. Now, this is the moment that we've all been waiting for, stacking for the last 3 to 4 years. Many of us missed the last bull run because we listened to the wrong people, but here we are again with this 3-month window that we can prosper greatly from, just like the other crypto cycles. So in this quarter four, which is October, November, and December, yes, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins will hit new all-time highs. But also, this is a warning that at some point, the sell-off is going to begin. It happens every cycle. That also doesn't guarantee that your meme coin that you're holding on to is going to go and make runs with dropping multiple zeros and so on, right? It's a different kind of market as it was in 2021. You have millions of meme coins and coins, more than there's ever has been since 2021. So you have all this money that is spread out among all these projects, and everybody's trying to get their meme project out there. Yes, you do have the altcoin ETFs, but you guys have to remember that those are for those particular coins like XRP, Solana, Cardano, Doge, XLM, and so on. And there's only a fraction of coins that are in the top 100 that's actually going to be in ETFs. And also to remember, as I shared in a previous video, that altcoin season doesn't last past 40 days. Right now with the ETFs, it's very possible, depending on how late they launch them, and it usually takes about 6 weeks before there's a major price impact, right? That's just based off of history. And the thing about it is that Bitcoin starts as drop. No one's going to care about ETFs. Any new ETFs that are launched, like maybe with altcoins, might get a bump, but that's all you're going to get. Now, the Dow Jones is at 46,366, the S&P at 6,688, the NASDAQ at 22,660, the Russell at 2,400, the NICE Composite at 21,500. So there's just been record highs with the stock market, and it'll probably continue to go up, but people need to understand that the stock market is disconnected from the economy. And I'm going to share it like this. The car market, the housing market, the construction market, the job market are all collapsing right now. Then you have AI taking over jobs. There's just so much to this economy that is really disconnected from the stock market. Now this morning you have Bitcoin sitting at 116,639, Ethereum at 4294, right? XRP at 294, BNB at 1,024, Solana at $219, Dogecoin at 24 cents, Tron at 34 cents, Cardano at 83 cents, XLM at 38 cents. Right, the fear and greed is at 43. Altcoin season, it's getting close to it, but it's not there yet. And that is the big thing, is where is Bitcoin going to go when it comes to its all-time high? And history shows that it's going to happen in this quarter of 2025. You could go back to 2013, 17, and 2021. I've shared with you that when altcoin season is over with, right, it's going to start dumping immediately. And if you see where the prices are at some of your altcoins now, you're going to see those prices again after altcoin season is over with. Right, so we're going to see Bitcoin's all-time high either October, November, or December. All this money is getting ready to come into the crypto markets. And it's not going to come into all the coins that you think it is, but a lot of it will come into the coins that we are invested in, right? And it's going to be up to you to be able to take profit, because that's going to be so important for this wealth transfer. There's a lot of things right now that can hurt Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is to reach over 133,000, 160,000, 175,000, right? That's where I suspect that it's going to go to around that amount. Who knows? But it really depends on what happens. We have the escalation with the Ukraine war and NATO. We have Russia invading Europe's space. right? The words that Trump has used against Russia, talking about shooting down their jets and all kind of stuff. We have the whole situation with Israel and Iran now. They're talking about Israel's preparing to attack Iran again. Then you had the Venezuela issue where we can start attacking Venezuela. We have the issue with civil unrest within our own country that could disrupt the economy. So profit taking is going to be very important, folks. I'm going to keep pushing this. And the people that I watch, they're watching like a hawk for the Bitcoin and Ethereum highs, and they're watching for altcoin season to begin and end. And that's going to be very important. And when you start to see some of your investments make all-time highs, you need to start thinking about taking a little bit of profit here and there, because you don't want to be in a situation like you were in 2021 where you were holding on in 2022 and you were holding on to that prophecy of 100,000 that never came. And when this happens with Bitcoin in the markets, you're going to need to learn how to short the markets. And that's why I have been sharing videos and putting the links down to videos so you guys can study and understand it, at least to the point to where you can understand when somebody says, place a put option here, right? Because many of you are just going to be taking profit and then watching the markets go down. And guess what? When the markets are going down, right, if you're listening to the wrong people, you're going to put some of those profits back in knowing that it's going to continue to go down. And you're going to get burned. There's going to be so many people that are going to get burned in the wealth transfer community because they're going to be listening to the wrong people. So you do have to prepare to be able to learn how to short the markets, both the crypto and the stock market. Those links are down below in the description. You just got to keep watching them over and over again and watching people who know what they're talking about. Because that time is coming, folks. There's warnings. Unusual Whales posted a third of U.S. states may be already in a recession. Right? There's only a few states that are doing well. U.S. manufacturing and construction are experiencing recession-like conditions. The recession is coming, folks, and there's nothing that Trump is going to be able to do to stop it. The Trump administration has too many enemies globally who are willing to use their trillions of dollars to crash the markets. And once you sell your crypto, once you sell your stocks, then what? Where do you keep your money? And if you're going to be shorting the markets, you're going to have some money on your crypto platforms, and you're going to have money on your trading platforms. Now, for me, I'm going to be having a lot of my funds like on platforms like Fidelity and other trading platforms so that I can make my puts and calls when that time is necessary. I've shared in the past some of my plan, right? People are saying that the banks are going to collapse. They're going to take your money away and all this stuff. Now, in other countries, there are certain laws that they can do that. In the United States, you have your $250,000 amount. But you know what, folks? Then there would be no point of this wealth transfer if all the banks are going to confiscate money. So if I'm going to be buying stocks and I'm going to be buying puts and then eventually call options, then I need to have my money on trading platforms. And depending on what banks you bank with, do you think Chase Bank is really going to crash and burn? Do you think Bank of America is going to crash and burn? I don't think we are at that time yet. And I'm telling you right now that gold and silver is going to be very difficult for a lot of people to exchange their money when that time comes. Because let's just pretend for a moment that silver does go up to $100. Gold will go up to $10,000 or even $20,000. Do you think that all these coin shops are going to have the money? And if anybody is buying gold and silver, that place is going to be swamped. Do you think they're going to have the money to buy gold at $10,000? That's why I say you guys need to start looking at paper options. But I'm banking on crypto because I think I can make a lot more money off of crypto than I can on gold and silver. Then I don't have to worry about trying to turn it in. But when it's time to exercise those paper options, then I'll go ahead and do that. There's going to be a lot of happy people, and by the end of this cycle, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people. And as we get into 2026, there's going to be even more disappointed people because you did not prepare yourselves and you listened to the wrong people. Now, I do want to touch on the prophetic a little bit. I'm going with old school. I am not going with these new prophets because they're getting it wrong. time after time after time. Then there are ones that were wrong all the time, and they're trying to speak to you. Now, the thing about it is that people like Christopher Harris and others have seen the markets go below 10,000. We're talking about the Dow. So you see where the Dow is now, right at 46,000. It's probably going to go up higher. I don't know how high that it will go, but at some point it's going to come crashing down. So that's why you need to learn how to short, whether it's stocks in the Dow or whatever the case. But when you start taking profit from crypto, you're going to be using some of that to place some put options. So in preparation for this, you need to develop your stock market plan. What stocks are you going to short? You can put in put options instead of shorting, right? And I'll get into that in another video. But you need to develop your stock market plan for when it's going down, and then when it hit its bottom, and then when it goes back up. If you're going to take advantage of the wealth transfer, you got to take advantage of all of it. See, and that's part of the problem within the wealth transfer community. They're just focused on cryptocurrency. And you have these YouTubers out here saying the wealth of the wicked is going to be transferred to the righteous. Well, how is that? What, just in the crypto markets? What about the stock market? There have been plenty of people that have been prophesying about how cheap some of these stocks are going to be. Like Tim, he talked about McDonald's hitting 61 cents. So obviously there's going to be some type of flash crash. That was in January of 2022. You have Greg Mason, who talked about the Dow being below 6,700 at 4,000. And that was in 2008. He foresaw this years ago. That was a hidden gem that God revealed later on to confirm everyone else who was saying the same thing now. Because nobody ever brought him up. Nobody ever found him before. And I've shared that this is partially my plan. I'm still trying to put something together to see where the Dow and the Bitcoin markets are going to be at the same time. So this is just my stock market plan. We don't know if the stock market is going to go to 50 or 60,000. If it does, that would be absolutely insane. But there's going to be some type of black swan event that brings it down. And also we have a regular market cycle. When wealthy people want to start taking profit and they see what's coming, that's when you're going to see it to go down. And then you also have these black swan events. And when I see the Dow going below 35,000, probably more than likely my final dinar order. And then when the Dow's below 30,000, I'm going to start taking profits on my put options. Right? When the Dow hits 10,000, I can set low buy limit orders for stocks, futures, and so on. So you can't really set low buy limit orders right now on stock platforms, right? Because if we believe that it's going to go that low, we're going to be able to take advantage in buying the actual stock and then also setting up call options, because not everybody's going to be able to buy 10,000 of 5 different stocks when the Dow's below, say even 5,000, because it's going to depend on how you handle your money from the time that you take profits from crypto and the markets are down at the very bottom. How much money you're going to have left? Are you going to go back into the markets because you heard some prophet say something, or some YouTube pumper who said something, he's telling you to get back into the markets, and you put all your money back in the markets, right? And then when the Dow hits its bottom and the dinar revaluation happens, right, I already want to be in a position where I've already bought all my call options. And then I've bought all my stocks, because the dinar revaluation, the dinar RV causes the Dow to go back up to 20,000. It didn't say how quick or how fast, but obviously when that happens, a lot of money is going to go back into the markets. And when the dinar RV happens, I will be buying the top currencies that we've always believed that that are going to RV after the dinar, like the dong. But I'm going to tell you this. Though when the time comes, it's going to be hard to find dinar, because I know that I'm going to be buying a lot of it when I see the markets begin to tank. So if you're just one waiting on the dinar only, you're not participating so much in the stock or the crypto markets, and you're waiting on the dinar, well, you better start buying some of the dinar now. And from there, we will go into the 8 wells. And your prosperity will depend on whether or not, if you invested in the stock market, the long term when it comes to the stock market is going to determine whether or not if you're a multimillionaire or a billionaire. The same with cryptocurrency. If you short crypto, you take profit, you have a lot more money to buy when Bitcoin and the rest of the markets hit the bottom. Then you can scoop up all this crypto that's super cheap. Whichever platforms that you're on, you can start staking it, right? And then you just wait for Bitcoin to go back over that 100,000 mark. That could take a couple years. But by the end of it, folks, if you've done what, especially the OG prophecies, if you have done what they have told you to do, then there's no excuse that you should be a billionaire if you're following everything. Because the wealth of the wicked, right, as what some people have said, I just say that this is a wealth transfer like the other wealth transfers, kind of like the Great Depression wealth transfer. That's what I believe, that God is just showing us what to do. Right? These events were going to happen anyway. He's just showing us. Because if people were correct about transferring the wealth of the wicked to the righteous, then you would be involved in the stock market, or at least learning how to short and then prepare yourself for the bottom of the Dow and the bottom of just all the markets. You'd be preparing for that. You see, when the time comes, a lot of people are going to be left out. There's only going to be the elect when it comes to taking full advantage of this wealth transfer. And it's not just Christian people. Smart traders also too will do much better than us if they see the same things that are coming, and they will prepare in the same way. But there will come a time, just like it did before, when Bitcoin, let's just say, goes up to 175,000. Boom, people start to take profits, so it's dropping, right? Then something happens with Russia, and Article 5 is declared from Poland, right? Then the markets begin to tank from there. Next thing you know, there's an all-out war between Europe and Russia. And then you have the Iran-Israel escalation, and then the markets just continue to go down on top of the normal Bitcoin cycle ending and the stock market cycle ending. And the other things that you have to prepare for too as well is buying the land, buying farms, buying a construction company or buying construction equipment, buying vehicles, the vehicles that you want to buy. I'm not buying a lot of this new crap. I'm buying older vehicles that I know that won't have the problems of these newer vehicles. These newer vehicles are costly to fix, and down the road in the future, 5-10 years from now, a lot of those cars will be, nobody's going to want to fix those cars, right? So you have to plan, okay, what kind of cars? The houses that you want to get. Maybe you're going into real estate and you want to buy a bunch of real estate, whether it's houses or businesses, buildings, so on, and starting ministries and so on, right? You might want to buy a whole bunch of ministry buildings for the future, right? This is part of the wealth transfer, what we're supposed to do, and that is to spread the gospel. So that's part of the reason why you're doing this. So you need to prepare for that. And don't just sit there and think about, well, I'll just donate a bunch of money to my church. If your church is not out there right now preaching the word or investing in people that are preaching the word all over the world, then don't invest in that, because then you're not going to receive your reward from that. So you got to think about ministry, right? Maybe your ministry needs vehicles. So when the vehicle market crashes, guess what? You could buy 3 buses. Maybe your religious private school needs buses. Investing in food pantries. We have a food pantry in our town that feeds people 7 days a week. They're feeding the homeless. They are doing things that Jesus has told us to do. So you're going to want to either create your own or invest in one that's already operating. Right? There are so many things that you can do. You should be, by the time all this is done and over with, within the next couple of years, be multi-millionaires, like we're talking about in the hundreds of millions, or billionaire. Those are the real Josephs, right? Everybody wants to talk about being a Joseph, and you're not even involved in the stock market. How's the wealth of the wicked that's in the stock market going to transfer to the righteous if you're not planning to take part in the stock market? You're just waiting on the dinar in crypto, and that's it. You see the fallacy? So I wanted to share this as an encouragement and to make sure that you are doing the right thing. You can pray all day long, but if you don't make the right moves and the right decisions, by the time we hit the bottom, you're not going to have anything to invest when it hits the bottom, and you're going to have to wait until the dinar revalues. Let me share this. When Shiba Inu made its run from 9 zeros, right? And it took off, right? You could put in 10, 20 bucks and you were a millionaire, right? Was anybody praying during that time period? You follow the instructions of the OG prophecies and you put in the work and you study and you learn. And when it's time to make those decisions, you can make them properly without relying on somebody else. So this is it, folks. This is what we've been waiting for the last 3 to 4 years. This is it. 2026, the markets are going to be crashing. That's what I believe 100%. With all these other things that are happening, with the wars, the civil unrest, the housing and car markets, the job markets, the economy is completely disconnected from the stock market. This is it, folks. And there's going to be a lot of people, I foresee it right now, they're going to be scrambling to try to get things together when the markets begin to tank. And then some people are going to be scrambling when the markets hit the bottom. For a lot of people, it's going to be too late. So I want to encourage you to study. Check out those links down below in the description and also in the comment section concerning shorting and learning about call option and puts, because some of you are not going to have enough money to buy 10,000 of certain stocks. Even though that the markets may be down, the Dow's at 4,000 doesn't mean that you're going to be able to buy 10,000 of 5 of the top companies. That's why I need to learn how to put in call and put options. This time is coming, folks. It's here. October, November, December are going to be the prosperous months. This is the Q4 warning for October, November, and December that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the altcoins will reach their all-time high. This is where you're going to take a lot of your profit. This is what we've been waiting for. I thank you guys for listening. God bless.